Hi there, welcome to Wellbeing Wednesday. This week I'd like to share with you a self-hypnosis technique. As I start to engage more with mindfulness and start to think about the light trance aspects of NLP, I'm often reminded of this kind of technique. It's something I manage to achieve quite a lot when I'm out riding my bike. But the following that I'm going to demonstrate is a brilliant technique that you can use at any time of the day, at work, in the evening, just not when you're driving or trying to work. So if you study any kind of hypnotherapy or look quite deeply into NLP and mindfulness, you'll probably come across a bloke called Milton Erickson, who really knew his stuff about hypnosis. However, there was only one method that he could manage to convince his wife Betty to use to be able to get herself into a light trance state, like the one that allows us to feel much more level and connected with the world. Ideally, when we do this exercise, we'd be sat in a chair. But obviously out here there is no chair, so I'm going to kneel for two reasons. One, there's some nice dry grass here, and the other, it's going to give my thighs a nice stretch from the ride over here. So, sat nice and comfortably, just allow your mind to stay calm, and what we're going to do is we're going to notice in detail three things that we can see. I'm going to do this out loud. You can do it inside your head. So I can see a give way sign. As the sun's starting to set, the red edge is starting to glow slightly. It stands out really brightly against the blue sky. It's flat and triangular. The next thing I notice is a small green bush which looks almost fluffy and spiky at the same time around the edges. I'm noticing about 6 different shades of green. Although there's some wind, it's relatively still because it's sheltered from the wind. I'm also noticing a dry stone wall that's bigger than the range of my eyes at the moment. It's got both a lot of uniformity and a lot of randomness to the shape of the stones that it comprises of. There's a range of colours from reddy browns and greys with white lichen marks on. It sets off both in contrast to and blending in with the yellows and greens of the grass, and is offset really nicely against the blue of the sky. Quite an attractive place. I've chosen to do this. The next thing I'd do is I'd start to think about 3 things that I can hear. So the first, most obvious one is my own voice. So I can hear myself speaking, thinking aloud, describing what's going on. I can hear the tone of my voice. And I'm also starting to become conscious of the sound of that gentle breeze just going past my ears. I can also hear a sheep baaing in the field to my left, just very quietly and very peacefully. It sounds like it might be the only one in there. It probably isn't. Then I'm going to switch to kinesthetic feelings, and I'm going to consciously become aware of 3 things and really do some detail about those sensations. So the first thing I'm going to think about is my slightly achy thighs. There's quite a warm feeling. I can feel that they've worked a little bit. There's a nice gentle stretch as I hold my back straight, and I can really feel the weight of my body pressing through, opposing that muscle and giving it a stretch. In addition to that, another thing that I can feel is I can feel a slight friction where the grass is against my knees as I'm knelt on the ground. It's not entirely uncomfortable, but it's making me very aware of the fact that I'm on something natural and not uniform. I'm also feeling a sensation of cold in my toes. So I'm considering all those three things. And then once I've done that, I'll go back to the visuals. And I'm going to pick out 2 this time, and then 2 auditory, and then 2 kinesthetic. So my first visual is going to be the mossy grass in the field to my right, which is a golden brown sort of colour. Again, it looks very still. Even though I know it's quite prickly and dry textured, it looks almost fluffy and blanket-esque. I'm also noticing the very sort of 2D silhouette shape of Pendle Hill to my right. I can't see the sunset behind me, but I'm very conscious that it's there from the quality of light and the shadow that I can see being cast. I'm becoming very aware of the presence of light contrasting against the dark shadow, although strangely with that silhouette the shadow's in the foreground. Now I'm thinking about 2 things that I can hear. So I can hear a cow over to my right. It sounds like it's quite a long way away. It's not alone, there's another with it, and to my left I can hear some gentle bird song. Those kinesthetic feelings. I can feel my heart rate actively slowing as I relax and become more at one with this environment. I can feel a slight sensation of cold as the temperature drops. I'm feeling that mainly on my nose. And then if you haven't guessed, the third step of this self-hypnosis technique is to wind it down to one thing that you can see, one thing you can hear, and one thing that you can feel. And this time, as we start to be more aware, and what's happening is that we're accessing lower frequency brainwave patterns, and we're experiencing the world more in the way that a toddler would than the way that an adult would when our brain frequencies go to this point. It allows us to fully appreciate the world around us and create that sense of mindfulness. So I'm picking the 4 white lines I can see in the middle of the road coming towards me. They gently crest. They appear to be brightening as they get closer. I can notice the downhill of the road and the direction that they're going in, and the perspective that they're showing, which is making me conscious of the distance between the start and the finish. As I allow myself to listen, very faintly I'm aware of a birdsong conversation when I concentrate on it, I can make out two birds. I don't know whether the microphone will pick that up because I'm doing this on a mobile phone, but that's there and it's really quite beautiful. And the sensation, physical sensation that I'm noticing is the warmth in my fingers as I hold my hands together behind my back. And that's just gently spreading. I feel the pressure of one hand against the other and the texture of the materials in my gloves. And I can feel the warmth spread through my body. And as I've worked through this gentle meditation, this self-hypnosis technique, you can see that I've maintained complete consciousness. You may notice some changes to my physiology, to my speech patterns as I go through. I can feel myself relaxing and connecting with this sort of place. Yes, it's ideal to come somewhere beautiful like this, but there's no reason you can't do this in your own home at your desk. It's brilliant exercise and it only takes a few minutes. Have a go, see how that helps to enhance your well-being, and I will see you all next Wellbeing Wednesday. Goodbye.